All right, Colby, thank you. I wanted to share because I think we'll get into a couple other ones later before I introduce Mark about this product that is really, really changing some lives already. But this is from Jason Johns. I asked him his experience, and we'll share this publicly as well. But he says, I've been taking Ignite for 6 weeks. I have seen significant improvement in my sleep, my recovery, and my energy. Ignite is one of the few products that I have taken that I could continue to feel the difference. It's a game changer, exclamation point. My sleep, my workouts, my recovery, my energy are through the roof. And I want to say quickly, congratulations to Jason as well. His football team that he helps coach is 8-0, one of the top teams in Texas. And you know how serious football is. And we all know how serious Jason is about his workouts and what he puts in his body. And so to get a glowing report, that's what's taking place to a fitness expert. I just got to say, wow. So that's kind of what we're seeing. We're going to share some other ones later, but it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Mark Rosales. Many of you had a wonderful opportunity to spend one-on-one time with him during the Ignite event back in Kansas just this last weekend. He was so gracious with his time, his energy, and his knowledge. And I have known Mark a number of years in the past, and I can tell you from my experience, he is a integrous guy. Everything that he does has integrity. He makes sure that what he is involved with is the best. And so when he and I spoke about allowing TM3 United to take his product, we both were kind of excited. I hope that's true for you, Mark, that you think you found a home here. We're so excited. And everyone, I know over the time you will get to know Mark and Ari the way I do and their family, and you will fall in love with him and her just the same way I do, because when you around integrity, it raises everybody's level up. And so, Mark, excited to have you here tonight and excited to hear a little bit more about a product that I am absolutely in love with. It fits in so well with what we are doing. And just like Jason said, my energy, my mood enhancement is through the roof thanks to this wonderful product. So, Mark, I am going to turn the time over to you to talk about this product. And then through this, we'll talk a little bit about the market that continues to double almost every single year as the population, not just here in the United States, but around the world, ages. This is a godsend product that everyone can use, both men and women, as we will talk. So, Mark, turning it over to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Darren. And I see some familiar names here. Hello, Colby and Gary. I don't know who TH is, but hello. And of course, there's Verna. I got to meet her this weekend and many of her team. It was lovely to be a part of a platform where I was able to take some time to discuss a bit about the pre-launch of Ignite3. For some of you, this may be the first time you meet me, and maybe certainly not the last, but for those of that came back from this weekend in Wichita, it was exciting to see everything and participate and feel really welcome to be there. I sat through most of it. There were times, to be honest with you, I went to my room or I went outside, but came back. That room was cold, but it warmed up. It certainly heated up with all the excitement and getting to meet Amy. And I remember Brittany and, of course, Brady and Joe and oh man, so many, and Ryan and Carol and so many others that were so wonderful with their time. My background, ladies and gentlemen, is in high school, I won most likely to go up 4 pant sizes. So that's pretty much what qualified me as like being a first generation American. It's like, oh yeah, we could do certain things back then. Now we can't, but or I've certainly limited those. I have been president of a company, a division from India that decided to launch in North America, but they actually had launched one of their first inventions. And I asked the majority of the room if they had heard of Nugenics. And Nugenics, of course, I've heard of them too. If you've ever seen any late night TV or sporting event, they spend millions of dollars on advertising their product. It's the #1 product at GNC, number one, second largest seller at Walmart, that they've used different derivatives. Well, my parent company that I represent out of India makes that product. It would be like saying the iPhone. But what we launched this weekend, what you have and what Aaron just showed us, Ignite3 is like having an iPhone 16. It is a whole different generation, but the genesis of that started 30 years ago with this biotech company from India. And I got to meet them in my many travels since they knew me about arginine. They actually knew of each other. We knew each other. I was actually with the company I worked with Darren. So Darren and I go back many moons. Let's put it this way. Our kids were young. Now he's a grandfather. Well, so am I. So I joined you just recently, Darren. I remember when he first had his grandchild coming into the world. It's like, whoa. Anyway, so he's a couple years, just a few years ahead of me on that, and a couple more grandchildren. But with Testosurge, which is the component that's the main engine behind Ignite3, what makes this formula unique is that it also includes arginine, one of the precursors for which is an amino acid that has long been researched. It's based on Nobel Prize winning science, and it's in a top sellers in different forms around there. And I have been involved with that. Well, we combined both of them so that we would have a dual action product that would have the benefits of optimizing your testosterone and optimizing it with a nitric oxide enhancement. So that combination is truly first to market. And I've been on that side for over 20 something years. Probably, and this is not a joke or an exaggeration by 1 0, the products I've been involved with, nitric oxide, have sold about $1 billion globally. Just that it's a number one seller for a company there out of Utah. In fact, one of the leaders is here at my house today, and I put him on the phone with Darren about half an hour ago because they know each other. Darren was in that company that purchased his company, and they merged and blah blah blah, and they're in 20 countries. But they would sort of love to have our component. But guess what? It's not just the maturity of the industry. It's the ability that for many of you, and I want to make this before I talk a little bit about the testosterone, because I made a few statements there. Some of you have, it's mostly the first time I met most of you. And when I was referring that I've dropped this weight in the last year, testosterone is not a weight loss product. So among the things that I brought back from the event, when my wife asked me yesterday when I got home, how was it? I said, you have something when people can't shut up about their product. And I mean that as a compliment. It was like you were all fired up because I'm meeting you after you've lost 40 or 50 pounds, or your girlfriend or your husband. I mean, that's transformation. I wasn't aware of all these things. So it's nice to meet someone. And I believe it was Amy who had the music of celebration. It really was celebrating someone's success by taking TM3, and maybe they're at their ideal weight. Or, how do you express that into feelings of how you feel or how things have shown up? And that didn't happen overnight for any one of you, but that's what I want to speak into, that it's not about a thing. It's a combination of things. And honestly, for those of you that have already maintained and have promoted the products that got you to where you're at, that's growing TM3 to make it a household name, what's making it a household name is your story, is your success. Because that's what I take back from it. Not, and I do read labels for a living. I didn't know that I'm sorry, it was the detox. I looked at how much vitamin D is there because both Darren knows I'm a fan of vitamin D. I'm going to recommend vitamin D. And all the things that I saw here, I started looking at that and I said, man, I'm even more excited. And then one of the things that I said is, folks, see, I build horses for a living. I train horses. I didn't make it, God made it. But I know how to pick a winner. But guess what? The horse will never win a race without the right jockey. It's a combination of those things. That's why Ignite3 is with this team, because it's not just one jockey. We have Gary, we have Colby there. And of course, can't forget Dylan. Dylan's saddling up that horse. He's making sure that horse is fed, doing all the other things. It takes a team, folks. And so I wanted to say that to you, that if you try to say, oh, is this testosterone? That's not what this is. Did you know that you can't even balance, and you're doing this? That's why I know those products work without balancing your hormones. It's kind of like blood sugars. If you've ever known anybody in their life that said, oh man, I need to reach for a Snickers in the afternoon because my blood sugars go down and I feel kind of funky. They had a really good thing, I become like Joe Pesci or someone that's like really rude you don't want to be with because I'm hungry, get out of my way. I'm hungry, right? Well, okay, that's hormones. And then on the flip side, when they get too high, and you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're peeing at all hours and you've got this taste and just what that happens, it may not hit your, let's say, population, but it does mine. I'm Hispanic, and so many people, I think I met Joey, he's part Indian and Latino. It's like, man, that's just kind of built into just our environment's not our body, our chemistry, our biology doesn't break down foods the same. Every country is very different, every culture, even the United States. So when you have too high blood sugar, long term, that's not an ideal way to live life. It's a shortness. They actually refer to it as diabetes, and as one of the risk markers of longevity. It's a big major one. So you really want to be in that sweet spot. It's that balance. So that's one example, but hormones works the same way. You don't want them too low, and you certainly don't want them too high. And again, this is not medical advice. This is a food-based supplement. It's based from food that will support and optimize your own testosterone. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not just a guy thing. You know that the most predominant hormone is still testosterone. And today I had this special guest friend of mine visiting here. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we're just visiting for the next 2 days. And he, like I said, he knows Darren. And I just happened to ask him because I never asked him before. And he said, I was paying $400 every quarter, every couple months. I'd have to go get labs, see the doctor. Uh, the insurance doesn't cover that. I go, no, I'm aware of that. Insurance doesn't cover any of these things. Then I'm doing a couple $100 at least because I'm doing it a week. Then doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And altogether, he was averaging about $2,400 so that he can maintain a high level of testosterone. It wasn't until about 5, 6 months ago that I put him on the same engine. Let's call it an engine. Interestingly enough, I want to use that as an analogy because very soon there'll be the Formula One race. I happen to like that. Not like a thing, but remember in cars, and whether you're into it or not, it's an amazing sport. And can you imagine that they go 200-300 miles an hour and they run around the track, and whoever comes first, they win. So if you understand that the engine that drives Ignite3 is what my company makes. But if you look at all the framework, the tires, the team, the pit crew, see, that's TM3. And I am convinced we're going to win some championships because just like cars, sorry, folks, we're no different than cars. I think actually, I wish we should probably take our better care of ourselves than they do of these cars. But remember, at a car, you can do a replacement of a tire or this or that. It's a fine-tuned instrument that's going super fast and is driven by the right, well, not necessarily jockey, but at least the driver. But he has a whole team around them to make sure their safety, which is the big concern because they're going fast, and of course the maintenance. So we're no different. We need to rotate our tires. We need to change our oil. We need to make sure we're fueling up right. We need to make sure, but ours is not based on a quick race. Ours is based on, of course, time. And I can assure you that Darren and I know Kobe as well, it ain't the age of the car, folks. We put a lot of miles on this car. It's how many miles have you gone? Now, as cars, we're no different. We need time to rest. We need time to sit down. We need to idle. We can't be redlining all the time, or at least I thought I could back in my 20s, now almost 60. Hey, I'm going the speed limit, but it's about the longevity. It's about the distance. It's about getting there. And folks, hear me on this, please. Let me tell you what testosterone is. It's part of that fuel. Absolutely. Now, guess what? What is, let's say, transformation? I believe that's the name of the product that was to help people get to an ideal weight. Is that correct, Darren? Colby, anybody? Okay, so if that's the name of it, imagine you're that car and now you're carrying on extra load, which is putting pressure on the tire, which is consuming more gasoline that raises, again, blood pressure and other factors. See, we're no different. But again, in a car, you can replace something. In a home, in a person, a lot more difficult. And so as we transform, as we put Ignite3, that's why I thought it was kind of cool to use that as an analogy today. Talk about ignition, talk about the spark. If you noticed, I haven't talked so much about stamina, strength, endurance. That's all related. That's relatable when you feed the body. No different than if I'm going to put super unleaded or whatever rocket fuel I put in the car, because we got to make sure that engine's running, the fuel line is going, the oil, and all those affect. See, it affects a whole system, folks. I know we want to sometimes bento box this and put it into its like space in this one compartmentalize it. But I wish it was that easy. It's actually quite complex. But walking into this industry, every time eugenics is doing this, they're advertising for us. Ever think of it that way? You are not just on a trend, you're on top of a trend that's going into natural, food-based, and that's approaching a market that they don't even talk about. A sexual libido may be a nice thing to sell, and that's a big industry, of course. But when we're talking about the women here, over 18 or so, that market is absolutely huge. I didn't actually know this. As God honest witness, my word on this. My wife is actually taking 4 capsules. I thought she was only taking 2. I didn't know that till literally today. I was like, oh, she says, oh no, I'm taking that because she's been monitoring herself, and how she monitors herself is with labs. Now, some of you have done that, some of you don't. It's not required, but it's always a good thing to check. And what it is, it's empowerment. It's not part of the program, but it's something that's nice to have because so many, and that was one of the things, as you know, Darren, Colby, and Gary and I, we talked about it. We donated that. There was over 30 tests that were done, and every one of those, not one person ever tested themselves in their whole life. Did they even know that was possible to test with the saliva, so non-invasive, we'll have those results sometime next week. We sent them in today. So I'm glad that you all participated, that you were open to see and hear that, because here's what happens, whether they take that or not the first time. The second time we do this at an event, the ones that did it before, you'll be able to compare that. But whether you didn't do that, because most of the people you'll see, they won't ever do that. But isn't it comforting to know that we could test, not guess, because we know what we stand behind that? And so I appreciate the compliment that Darren gave me, but it wasn't based on Las Vegas rules. I wasn't rolling the dice seeing what fit. I actually have to compare it to something to know. That's why our product has the highest certification you can possibly get. It has certifications that not based because I said so or it's approved by Gary. It's like, no, it's approved by third-party independent testing that did safety studies, that did this in comparison, and the origin of the product is all where it's done. It's all done with FDA registered labs. It's NSF certified, which you can't even get at even a Whole Foods, to be honest with you. This is truly boutique unique. But see, all those things are nice and they're important, but really what matters is your testimonial. That's why I go back to the origin. If I'm listening to people telling me this product is great and this did, you know what I said? They told me their story. There's all the credibility I personally need, because when I hear Brittany, who then I didn't know after the fact, she said she's a nurse, okay, and she vetted everything, and she was, let's say, when she even told me she was skeptical when she started, and yet when I see that she got benefit from this, what do I need to read or see or verify for myself? I'm looking for opportunity. And that's why network marketing is that last bastion, folks. That's why that works. That's why it's a combination and it's a win-win-win for everyone. Because yes, we could have chosen as a company and start doing infomercials and go after that one time. But see, when people like something, they become customers for life. Not just a one-time thing, because anybody will buy something the first time. But do you know where the proof in the pudding comes? When they reorder it and they say, man, I can't be without this. Whoa, whoa, that changes the whole thing. That's what Madison Avenue and some of these other things, even on Amazon, that's what they'll never get or understand, is that the people in that room, Verna's seal of approval means more than all that other stuff, or how many likes, or how many stars, or how many people did that. I mean, you could pay for that. You could have easily probably gone to a football player, a football, basketball player, soccer player, and say, hey, tell them how great we are. Oh, I'm great already. I'm making all this money. And you should take it too. It's like, okay. Well, what about Susie Homemaker that actually got blessed, that is actually bringing income from a US based company that is sharing something, and the price point makes sense? I mean, this is a $2 a day decision. I'm sorry, that's wholesale, but even at 75, do you know that we currently sell? I'm going to tell you all this. I said it to the group there, $80 to $120 through a doctor. And it doesn't have nitric oxide in it. That's separate. If you were to buy two other products separately, fine. Like, you know, I didn't tell this to Darren yet because he knows my wife. In fact, I had him say hi to my wife today. She was like, did you go to bed early? Yes, I had dinner with them. We hung out. She's like, tell me more about this weight loss thing. Now, because she's already taking the testosterone. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an either or thing. You've lost the weight. You're doing great. You've changed your lifestyle. You're in the zone. Well, what if now you're just showing off? Now, I didn't do this on purpose because I was a little bit goofy. I mean, I did wear a suit. I don't go around going, hey, check it out. Like, hey, look at me, man. I'm strong. Check me. Like, I don't do that. Maybe for my wife, but it is kind of cool. It's actually one of the first times in my life that my own kids, who are 35 and 33 respectively, think that what dad does is cool. Not kidding you. Because it's testosterone. Like, hey, what's your dad? And they've told me, hey, what's your dad doing these days? Now, I didn't say this to the group, but I forgot to tell it to you. I've literally been accused of being on Ozempic. I'm not even kidding you. Because it's the nature of our, I guess, being in San Francisco. Oh, did you get some plastic surgery? No, I'm doing testosterone. I'm in the wow. Remember I told you I'm doing this thing. What? No. On capsules? No. See, our culture is very different. I'm saying culture in a second. Speaking generally of the United States. The United States, we want instant. Being honest with you, in other countries, they will go first for the natural, and as like a last minute thing, then they'll go, okay, okay, I'll consider going natural. So that's why a lot of people, not knowing, they've had the only option they thought was pellets, injectables, or roll-ons. And I'm not saying they can't do that because their doctor may have recommended that. Like my friend who's paying $2,400 a year. Now I can ask him to come here. He's not a paid actor. I can ask, he's on the other side of my house. I say, come over here, Rudy. Tell this group here, fine group of people, what do you pay? And he's just the average guy at $2,400 a year. But let's just say he starts getting on Ignite3 and he's doing 2 bottles. What is that? If he does it wholesale, with 120, the shipping and so forth? Yeah, because he wants to double up because he's used to that. He's still saving half a year than what he was before. But more importantly, he's going to save. How do I say this politically? Hmm. His Frankenbeans are going to be more improved than dealing with the synthetic kind and all the repercussions of that. And with the money he saves, he can do the other wonderful products that you have. And where else can he do it where he can actually refer other people and get his product for free? Gee, where's the catch? I don't know. I don't know where it is. I didn't see it
I love
because
that, Mark. That's
at,
powerful.
at the end of the day, if we can transform hundreds of thousands of people, I think that's when I'll slow down. That's when things just become real. And you have the opportunity to work with the leadership. I had an opportunity because I know what it's like. I've been there, folks. I built as well over the years, not just myself, my wife and I should say that way. And it was always based on if we could support other people to get where they want to go. I tell you what, I got to be one of the most selfish persons you've ever met. Tell you that right now. I have no shame in saying that because you never get tired of people thanking you for what it's done to them. Sorry, it feels great when someone says to me, hey, I've lost all this weight. And I mean, literally what resonated was meeting Brittany and so many of them because I didn't ask them. They told me. I mean, it was like, I'm here because I used to be this, I'd be that. You're looking at them like, oh, well, that's the first time I met them and they look in great shape. And you know what else I noticed? The harmony. If I were to sum it down, distill it to one word, harmony. How often do we see that where people are celebrating other people's success? Oh, yeah, I go to work. The first thing they do, oh, yeah, hey, great job. Thanks for working all weekend. Yeah, yeah, right. We're here. You guys are all supporting each other. You're loving each other. You actually even use the word love. I mean, these are people that love what they do and do what they love. I don't think that's just reserved for celebrities and sports athletes. I think that the power of now doing it is great. Ignite 3 in combination with some lifestyle things. It does take some work, folks. That's why it's not an instant. It's not going to be, I'm just going to go from 0 to, 5,000 in my testosterone. No, it's not about that. It's about the balance. It's about the harmony. It's in working with nature, finding everything that works with you that your body will identify that'll feel good, and then you'll feel good afterwards. So it's not because, like I said, you could feel good and drink a Coke and then look how it tanks after a few hours. Don't want that either. It's not sustainable. And I see something sustainable in TM3. I actually feel the vision. I felt something that I hadn't seen or ignited, no pun intended, to the product. I hadn't ignited in a long time for myself. Because yes, it does feel good doing some things. Of course it does. It's very gratifying. It could also be ungratifying because a lot of people, they immediately say no, but they're not saying no to you. It's a really funny thing. I've had some people tell me on Ignite 3, well, I'm going to talk to my doctor about it. Great. What's your doctor's name? I don't know. They changes every year. And well, how much time did he spend with you last time? About 5 minutes. Did he have to look at a chart to see who you were? Well, yeah. It's like, when you drank, 2/5 of scotch and ordered a double Big Mac with double cheese with bacon on it, did you call him before you did that? Of course not. Now, I'm not being facetious, a little bit. But look, that's not what this is. And do talk with your doctor, and there are times you need to do that, but it's about empowerment. Know that we will get you the answers, not because we make them up. We're going to introduce you to Dr. Tim. We're going to introduce you to Dr. Nina, who is also part of my team. So I have other jockeys I work with in relationship to the science, people that would talk to a nurse or something like that. But you know what this is going to hit is mainstream America. This is a grassroots movement. And let me add this one last thing. If you want to add life to years and years to life, get on Ignite 3.
Mark, I love it. Yeah, and thank you for your passion. Couple of questions if you have just a minute.
Sure.
Okay, so Amanda, you met her at the conference and she gave permission to say this. She was the one who had a complete hysterectomy very young. And she is taking the pellets, and you'd mentioned to go ahead and take some. Here's her question. She just said, if a man who had very low testosterone and the doctor put him on Clomid to boost his own testosterone, and that wasn't enough, so they put him on additional small amount of injectable testosterone, how would he transition off of those and into Ignite 3? And let me just say one thing before you. Oh, we're not doctors. We're not here to take their place of doctors, and so we continue to say rely on that. But Mark, that was a question from Amanda. If you have any insight for her to consider.
It's a great question because there are cases like that, yes, when they do inject and they are doing the pellets is because they're no longer producing it. And, it sustains life. So it's really important that they maintain that with the endocrinologist. What the Ignite 3 would do is, in effect, support the rest of the see, there's a lot of bioidentical hormones, and there's other hormones that people use, and it's always a balancing act. Especially with pellets, because as they dissolve with activity, sometimes they spike and sometimes they go down, and it's always something. Even seasonally, they can move differently. What this will do is best support and optimize so that that balance is more consistent throughout their body for all of their functions. And I think they should be able to feel better. It's not contradictory, contraindicatory, because the contraindication is you don't want to have too much or stimulate it more, but that's not the pathway that this takes, because what it does, it binds to things, so it'll make it more productive. So the win would be that they could potentially reduce their need for the injectables later on. But I would use the same thing because it's like blood sugars. It's again, there are some people that do injectable because they're not really type 2, they're now type 1, or they consider them type 2, and they're doing injectable insulin and medication. That's within that realm. You want to balance it. You don't want them too high or too low. Well, in testosterone, because it comes around and circulates out, and it's not so much dependent on in blood sugars, that's metabolism. In testosterone, it's actually run by your cholesterol. So a lot of times they are doing things like statins and other things that's actually reducing cholesterol. And of course, age and stress affect that as well, and very much so. And so what you want to do is, if you would have a win and just maintain where you're at and not have it get higher dependency on those medications, I think that in itself would be a benefit. But again, that really depends a lot on the person and their situation. So I would lean to be conservative about it. I would just do 2 capsules and not go heavy, and just continue going to the labs, because they're required to do that at least every 3 months, and just keep an eye on that. And let me finish with this. When you are doing this, I would absolutely tell your doctor about it. And if they need to get with us, then that's fine. We can send the paperwork enough, because some of them have heard of it, because they don't want anything that would contradict or tax the liver or kidney, which some of those do have. They really do those type of warnings. Ours does not. It's again food based.
Okay, wonderful. Mark, last question for you. If someone has a lot of testosterone, but too little bioavailable testosterone, can this product help make more testosterone bioavailable?
Yes. So the way they define that is it's total testosterone, and that generally runs from 300 to 1,000. And then you have what's called free testosterone. That's really known what's bioavailable. It generally runs around 1% of total testosterone. So yes, absolutely. The clinical on one of the trials we did with the main engine of Ignite 3 showed 125% increase in free testosterone. And that's an average. That's after first dose too, 10 hours. So as I said to you in the group, you want to give this time to grow. It's not like you're going to feel great immediately. That's not how it works. But really over time, anyone that has consistently been taking the Ignite 3, they'll notice some changes over the next several weeks and months. And again, the more you're able to support that, I mean, you're saying with your lifestyle and other things, folks, alcohol, big bummer when it comes to testosterone. Sorry. Other disruptor that I changed my deodorant, a different kind that I use now. I used to use a lot of the cologne. Don't do it anymore. Perfume. They are absolute killers for testosterone for men and women. There's a lot of them. There's a whole industry that's spawning from that, of looking at certain diet and certain foods. I had chicken with you the other night, and I ate maybe once a week now. I don't eat that much anymore, because it's one of those things that lowers testosterone. So again, I don't do soy products.
Yeah.
Another one, and that's, I've maintained it very nicely, but those things as well you'll be learning more about in the next couple months again to best support.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mark. Thank you. And again, what I love though is that immediately when you take it in, it is starting to do something for the body. That's first dose.
Yeah, and what they don't tell you,
It's
it
time to notice,
really
but
does
it's
help,
actually
you know, the brain. Yeah, sorry about that. It actually, a lot of testosterone comes from the brain. You would
yeah.
think the other way around. No, it comes from the brain.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, everyone, Mark, thank you. And as we close out, I did want to share those numbers again that I had seen because I was curious as well. And the market right now for testosterone boosters is around 4 billion. It's projected to be well over 10 billion in the coming years. We are positioned perfectly ahead of the curve. You know, we are kind of first to market with this.
Yeah.
Some people are going to ask questions and things, but just know this cannot, you know, it's a perfect time for you to introduce this along with our other products that we have. So Mark, thank you. And if anybody has
Well,
other,
can I say one thing about that?
absolutely.
Because many of the people I met there, they're already having a success with, the weight loss, and they're doing the other products. That's great, but so all we've done is expanded, because now you're able to talk about, quite frankly, something that's sexy. But guess what? I did it the other way around. For instance, I dropped because of balancing my testosterone and lifestyle change. I did give up alcohol. That did help a lot. Okay. But now I can come back myself for Transform, because that's going to help me maintain that stubborn 5 pounds I want to lose. And that's a big market. For a lot of areas, they don't want to lose 50 pounds. Losing 2 to 5 pounds is just as difficult as 50 for certain cultures. Not the Hispanic market. I'm Hispanic, so, or Hispanic American, but in Asia, I can tell you, that stubborn 2 to 5 pounds, they will go crazy. So wherever they start, everyone's always going to have a hero product. And I got that very clearly. Many of them were like, man, they're faithful to the brand, they're faithful to the company because they've had that success. But we're not saying don't celebrate, of course, but now you can expand into this. So the ones that have had the success with the weight loss can do even better with that,
Absolutely. So true. Hey, Mark, thank you again for that. And, you know, again, just the opportunity that we've been given, we're grateful. We're gonna make you happy. Let's put it that way with this group of people who are faith first, others second, I am third, and to be able to go out and share this. And, you know, I came back because you met Ruby.
Oh
Here's
yeah.
this wonderful lady that, you know, let's face it, she doesn't need to lose weight and things, but as she took this product into her body, she said, for the first time, I can keep up with some of these workouts with stamina. And to me, that's what's exciting is she's maintaining her weight with the other products, and now she's able to add something to go forward. So just again, a godsend.